Right now at 6, the fight for SNAP funding continues. What the Supreme Court just decided.
And Woodman's announcing a change at its stores, how it's impacting cash transactions.
Watching WKBT La Crosse, this is News 8 Now at 6.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us for News 8 Now at 6. I'm Emily Brown.
And I'm Ken Kozarowski. We start with breaking news in the fight for SNAP funding.
The Supreme Court is extending an order allowing the Trump administration to withhold full November food stamp payments. The court said it will go through the end of the day Thursday. This coming as the House moves to vote on a funding package to reopen the government.
Now to Washington, D.C. and the shutdown. A live look at Capitol Hill tonight. That long-anticipated funding bill heads to the House for a vote. But the shutdown shockwaves could impact Americans for months, including their plans for air travel. Now, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy was in Wisconsin today. He met with air traffic controllers and toured the Central Wisconsin Airport in Wausau. Duffy called on air traffic controllers to return to work before the holiday travel season. This coming as they're set to miss their second paycheck due to the shutdown.
Are we going to have air traffic controllers come into work? And if we have the controllers showing up, I think we're going to be back to, regular flight schedules.
The nationwide air traffic controller shortage is affecting flights out of La Crosse. All flights connect through Chicago's O'Hare, which was ordered to reduce air traffic by the FAA.
It's definitely, unfortunate that it trickles down to the regional airports, but then we're also in, the same boat as other regional airports around the country that this is happening to. And again, hopefully this is solved in the short term.
Duffy says the key to ending flight disruptions is getting air traffic controllers back to work full time. So far, air traffic controllers at LSE have been paid throughout the shutdown because they are contract workers.
So what happens the second the shutdown ends?
Specifically for frustrated air travelers. Well, our own Grace Monk has some answers tonight. Grace.
The government shutdown may be nearing an end, but that doesn't mean the impact on air travel is ending anytime soon. Until a deal to end the government shutdown is signed, airlines must continue to follow the FAA's emergency order to reduce flights. 6% of flights at 40 major U.S. airports were cut Tuesday, rising to 10% by Friday. One expert says air travel won't operate at full capacity immediately after the shutdown ends.
Canceling a few flights is a lot easier than canceling many flights. It becomes progressively more difficult because it's not just the passengers that need to get to their destinations, it's the crew, it's the aircraft.
If the shutdown ends soon, Albert says it could take a few days for things to go back to normal. If it doesn't, travel could be impacted for several weeks.
We don't want to delay the reopening of the government because then that would really threaten Thanksgiving.
Albert says it all depends on the number of air traffic controllers that return to work.
The FAA has noted a sharp increase in retirement since the government shutdown. So when they're coming back from the shutdown, they're not going to be at full force.
DOT policy says airlines have to reschedule flights or refund passengers when there's significant delays, schedule changes, or cancellations.
The airlines at this point are experts at responding to these changes and these unexpected events.
For travelers worried about delays, Albert recommends arriving early and checking your flight in advance. Already today, more than 1,300 flights have been canceled according to FlightAware. In the newsroom, Grace Monk, News 8 Now.
Thank you, Grace. Woodman's will be rounding change to combat a penny shortage. The chain will begin rounding all cash transactions to the nearest nickel. This differs from Quick Trip's recent change, which rounds all purchases down. Woodman's self-checkout register will also stop accepting cash payments starting December 8th.
Eau Claire will be testing outdoor sirens tomorrow. It's happening between 1 and 4 p.m. Altoona's sirens will also be tested. Each siren testing could last up to 30 seconds. Officials use the sirens during the threat of severe weather or other emergencies.
Well, we felt a slight warm up today from the past few days, and we're going to be climbing even more throughout the week, Greg.
Yeah, that's pretty much the theme. It's going to be above average temperatures. In fact, 60s are on the horizon too. So it's going to be a warm overall end of the weekend. But for tonight, we still got fairly mild conditions. The winds have died down, some clouds out there, but all in all, not too bad, staying in the low to mid 40s overall. Now, if you look at the temperatures, we were a little bit above average for a lot of high temperatures minus areas just to our north and east where cloud cover stuck around, keeping them, as you see, Wausau on 39. Everyone else was in the 50s. We should be mid to upper 40s at this time. So quiet evening, a lot of clouds for Eau Claire. It's not going to really break up too much, but overall the winds have died down, so your feel-like temperature is still in the mid to upper 30s, so not too bad as we've had. Less cloud cover for La Crosse, mostly clear skies. That west-northwest wind will continue around 10, making it feel more like in the mid-30s as we go throughout the evening hour. There's your cloud cover, really kind of I-94 north, as that's where the clouds are. They will linger at least for several more hours. If you're south and west of that, generally clear skies too overall. So coming up, we got the northern lights tonight. We got mild conditions, and we'll kind of break down how long this stretch will last, and we might see more precipitation a bit later in the broadcast.
All right. Thank you, Greg. Well, the fate of La Crosse's Northside Library is set to be decided tonight.
News 8 Now's Jadius McGee joins us live at the Main Street Library with what's at stake. Jadius.
Tonight's meeting could determine what both libraries look like going forward. The library's allocation was reduced by about $175,000, and now the board is considering two options: reducing hours at both remaining branches or closing the North Branch entirely. Library directors say it's a difficult choice either way, but after the downward spiral in funding, the board has few options left.
We have seen that despite all of our efforts to keep scaling back, the city just doesn't have the funding to keep us going the way we used to be.
According to the directors, the Northside Library serves about 10% of total library users, averaging 51 visits a day compared to 695 in May. Now, the board is expected to make that vote here any minute now. We will have results later tonight at 10. Reporting in La Crosse, Jadius McGee, News 8 Now.
Thank you, Jadius. Great Rivers United Way is preparing to take over 211 operations in the region. 211 is a crisis call center for anyone struggling with mental health, addiction, or meeting basic needs. After housing the service for the last 20 years, Gunderson Health System will cease 211 operations at the end of the year. Great Rivers will step up to fill that gap.
This is not a switch that you can flip on, so there's a process to getting calls back into this area. That's not going to happen right away, but calls will be answered.
You can contact 211 by calling, texting, or visiting greatrivers211.org.
Still to come tonight, it's Veterans Day.
How they're being honored around the nation and in our region. Coming up next.
Tomorrow on the morning news, a swanky restaurant and bar opens for business. A Sparta holiday tradition is back, and the return of warmer weather when we see you at 5 a.m.
Well, veterans are being honored for their service across the region today. UWL student athletes served them at the 13th annual Freedom Honors Flight Veterans Day breakfast. 600 volunteers helped out at the event. It was free and for all vets and their families.
They like to be recognized. They like to be thanked. We've got all the young kids here that are thanking all the veterans for their service and stuff. So I think it's really one of appreciation. The veterans really thank us for remembering this particular day.
Viterbo President Rick Tritelli gave the keynote address. He served 22 years in the Army.
Crucifixion School in La Crescent honored veterans this morning with a ceremony. Students sang patriotic songs and watched a flag folding demonstration. An active duty service member spoke to the students about the importance of Veterans Day.
It's a very small crowd, less than 6% of Americans have served our country, and so it really is the few. And I think they deserve the attention that comes along with today.
Just be thankful for them and all they've done for us.
The ceremony included the presentation of the colors and a moment of silence, followed by taps.
Moments Hospice is hosting multiple ceremonies around the region to honor veterans. Today they visited Creamery Creek in Stoddard and Bay Harbor in La Crescent. The events feature speeches, singing, and individual recognition with certificates and a pinning ceremony.
There are people out there that serve the country without any exact expectations. It's gratifying to know that other people care.
Another ceremony will be held Wednesday at Aspen Place in Viroqua and Thursday at Bluffview Memory Care in Holman.
President Donald Trump took time today to honor U.S. veterans. Trump laying a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, marking the day at Arlington National Cemetery as the nation's commander-in-chief.
Generation after generation, America's warriors have left behind the comforts of home and family to face violence, evil, and death so that our families could know joy, goodness, and peace. We honor them so strongly.
Across Europe, ceremonies marked the end of World War I. In Belgium, red poppy flowers dropped onto soldiers and others gathered for the commemoration. We will have more news ahead.
But first.
Yeah, breezy conditions for Wednesday, but it'll still be mild. And the good news is we're going to get 50s, more even 60s by the time we get to the end of the work week. So we'll break down what the temperatures look like through the weekend and whether that it comes with any precipitation. That all coming up on your First Warn Weather Update after the break. Well, the sun has been quite active here for the last week. Some big sunspots. We've had some really pretty much blast of particles on one of these have pretty much produced. So we have 3 potential, as we call them, CMEs, or mass ejection of particles from the sun coming potentially towards the Earth right now over the next couple days, too. In fact, one may catch up to it, we had one just today. So that opens a door, since it isn't Earth directed, and time of day, we could have some northern lights come out. And right now, as I just checked, we're starting to see some indications of something hitting the Earth, but it's not quite strong yet. So we're expecting this to ramp up to potentially strong, and that would then indicate that you could see it potentially without the naked eye. If it's down towards this level, you definitely probably need a camera to enhance the activity as it's over the horizon. It should peak tonight and then potentially come back down, and there's another one coming later tomorrow afternoon to tomorrow night, depending on timing. We don't want it during the daytime, obviously, so we'll see if that happens there. But we have several opportunities here. Once again, the sun's remaining quite active, and it looks like we might see more flares coming off the sun, so it may not be done after tomorrow night, too. And the good news is, cloud-wise, I think most of the area will see less in the clouds going tonight, and I forgot to mention less moon illumination, too, which won't be bright as much as we had last couple weeks ago. Overall, if you look at cloud cover, it's going to persist here along and east of I-94 probably until about midnight, and then the entire area will see clearing skies for the rest of the night, with maybe a little bit of high cirrus clouds coming back in for the morning, but otherwise should be quiet to wake up. There will be that brisk kind of west-northwest wind. That system has pushed off the east, but we're going to get the winds behind it for tomorrow, so it'll start picking up in the morning, and that really be the question. But overnight lows tonight, pretty seasonal. Most areas around freezing or just above. The colder areas maybe below freezing, but that wind will help keep the temperatures up a little bit. And then tomorrow, pretty much similar temperatures that we kind of saw today. The only issue is that wind could gust in 25 to 30, so the feel-like temperature probably will be more into the 40s. That'll be the only drawback because we'll have plenty of sunshine out there. Speaking of the winds, the gusts in the morning, 20 to 25. By the time we get to noon, we could be in 25 to 30 mile per hour gusts and potentially even stronger across some areas. The good news, once we get towards the evening commute, it dies off quickly, and that'll be it for the wind, too, going into Thursday. And that's the positive with Thursday. Not much change from temperatures from what we had Wednesday, but we won't have the wind going on, so it'll feel much more like it's in the 50s, too, with a few clouds out there. Going into Friday, it's even better. The winds turn around from the south, helping to get those temperatures back up into the 60s. So it's going to be a nice end to the work week, dry too. Going into Saturday, it's even going to get warmer. Potentially, we could see mid-60s, upper 60s, not quite records. There's your records for Saturday. You'd have to get up close to 70 for La Crosse, mid-60s. We'll have cloud cover, so that may keep it down, but still overall, it's going to be nice. Now, there's a system coming through this weekend, but the good news is it's pretty much dry. The precipitation chances going into Saturday are going to be mainly to the north as the system kind of slides northwest to southeast across the area. And even Sunday, it stays off to the east, really. Chances don't look great. Maybe north of Eau Claire, you might see a shower Saturday night into Sunday, but most of the area will be rain dry. The next system to watch is one to the south. That's going to spread north. That's our next precip chance, probably going into Monday night into Tuesday, but even that's not a lot either. So the good news with the drop from Sunday, that's kind of where we should be. So it's not like last Sunday where we're going back in the 30s with wind chills in the teens. It'll be in the mid 40s with the breezy conditions, somewhere feel like in the 30s. So overall, get out there, enjoy it, get all the things done you want to be done outside, because, you know, things could change beyond that too, because we're kind of getting to the stage where You know, average temperature is going to be in the 30s, so getting outside doing activities or anything
Yeah.
of winter prep is
It's
going to be limited.
Yep.
You know?
For sure. These next few days are going to be a gift.
Yep.
Thanks, Greg. Coming up next in sports, time to panic. One of the Packers stars with a message to fans after Monday night's loss. Plus a story on one area swimmer looking to make a splash this weekend at State. Jacob is next.
Covering all the exciting action from your community, here's News 8 Now Sports with Jacob Lenzendorf.
Making it to state 4 years in a row is a remarkable achievement for any high school athlete, but winning back-to-back state titles is an accomplishment that few ever achieve. News 8 Now's Kate Overton caught up with Hannah Tubbs, who is aiming to accomplish just that later this week.
At the pools in Black River Falls, you're likely to find Hannah Tubbs, a senior with an impressive swimming resume.
When I was a freshman, I just wanted to make it to state, and I was really excited when I did. I ended up placing last place, but then I knew to push myself to work harder the next year during my sophomore year to make it back.
Tubbs has qualified for state every year she's been in high school, but this weekend, she's chasing an even bigger goal: defending her title in the 100 freestyle.
I feel like it's a little pressure to defend my title, but I'm also just really excited to swim my last high school swim meet of my senior year.
There may be some pressure, but her coach says Hannah has been on a mission this season with her eyes firmly set on the prize.
This year, she was just cool as a cucumber going into sectionals. And when she's in that mindset, she really can accomplish anything.
Going back to back would be a remarkable achievement, but no matter the outcome, Hannah has already made a lasting legacy in her community.
She really, I think, represents a dream for a lot of those younger swimmers and brings some notoriety to the district.
I will remember most all the friendships that I've made, and my teammates have pushed me to be who I am today. And all my coaches, too, have always pushed me to be work my hardest in practice.
Reporting from Black River Falls, Kate Overton, News 8 Now Sports.
And Hannah will compete in the state tournament starting this Friday, and she's also preparing for the next chapter. She plans to swim at UW Green Bay next year. And speaking of Green Bay, the Packers have now dropped back-to-back games and have sunk to 7th in the NFC after their 10-7 loss last night against the defending world champion Eagles. Jeff Hafley's defense held a fantastic Philly offense to just 294 total yards, but the Packer offense was worse with critical errors all game long. Regardless, Micah Parsons had a positive message for fans of the green and gold in the locker room.
For right now, we just got to get back to the basics and do what we have to do. But, I mean, I wouldn't panic at all. Like, we're going to win a lot of football. Like, the way we just played, we're going to win a lot of football games. So, I mean, there should be a lot. And this is considered one of the best offenses in National Football League. So, I would not panic. I wouldn't stress. We're going to win football games, I promise you.
And now a look at the News 8 Sports Pick'em standings. Ken leads by 2 over Kate, who grabs second place from me. Emily, bad week for us too. Ken and Kate each had 9. And this week's winner, Larry Paulino out of North Carolina, 12 out of 14 correct for Larry. On the bright side, I'm 1 of 8 left out of 330 in the Pick'em survivor. That's all that I'm holding on to.
I'm going to take a page out of Micah Parsons' book. I'm not going to panic. I'm going to come back and beat all of y'all.
Plenty of season left. That'd be quite the comeback story.
That would be quite the comeback.
Ken, thoughts on the how the Pick'em's going?
I was a little surprised. I thought I was going to have a worse week, especially after the Jags choked against the Texans. But I'm not happy that the Eagles won, but glad that I picked the Eagles for the sake of the Pick'em league.
Weird games this week, that's for
sure.
sure.
It was, yeah.
This is the worst I did in history.
So you can only go up.
Yeah, I can only go up.
There
Exactly.
you go.
All right, Greg has a final look at your forecast right after this.
All right, get outside tonight. Potential northern lights the next couple nights. It looks like storming is occurring or starting right now. So other than that, 60s by the time we get Friday.
Sounds good. And happy Veterans Day to you,
Thank
Greg.
you. Yeah.
Thank you for your service. They're wonderful.
And thank you for joining us tonight at 6.
We'll see you at 10.